Hello, hello. My goodness. I have, like, when the first time you talk all day, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing out there? Peasant Chat, we talk to poor people every Sunday, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we talk about whatever and anything and everything to the people that typically couldn't afford to pay for Super Chats on the other streams. Today, we're going to talk about the Engine Labs finale of the Engine Dyno competition, where the Coyote with 3 less PSI and 0.3 less displacement beat the LT by 19 horsepower or so like that. And, you know, it's impressive, but it's almost like not that impressive. Like we all knew on this channel, if the Coyote was configured in a way that the engine builder had ultimate control of all the parts needed, I'm thinking that the Coyote would have beat it by a little more, but not a lot more, because I think the limiting factor was the turbo size, right? Like you have a turbo that the most it could produce was about what it did produce, 1,400 horsepower. Let's say you have a turbo that maxes out at this boost, this efficiency, this RPM, whatever, then regardless of the air pump that's pushing it, it's going to make what it's going to make. But it is interesting that Coyote made it with 3 less pounds of boost, 20 more pulls, and we could talk about that situation. We could talk about the fact that Engine Labs gave Mahovitz a little too much credit. Nothing against Mahovitz, but they're giving him a little too much credit. And I have always said, in that kind of application, VCT has to be on that engine. Now, we have noticed that a lot of people in the LSLT world don't know anything about Coyote. So the moment they go, well, you could just lock it in an optimum position for overlap and this and this and that. But we'll talk about what happened in that video, what led up to the Coyote eking out a win. But again, I told you guys, when it comes to power, all my chips are on Coyote. When that engine goes onto a truck, I am saying it is going to be impressive, because I think Joe probably looked at the data at the dyno and was like, the cam's got to move. The cam's got to move somewhere else. Why? The turbo kit was not built by them. It was modified by them. I'm not going to get too into the weeds, but we'll talk about that and many more things. But not before Mr. Bill O'Reilly tells us to do it live.
Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
It does suck. You know what does not suck, though? The support we get on the show from the sponsors, starting with Nick James and PMAS. Nick James and PMAS, best cold air intakes, best MAF sensors, the best data on the planet. If you have a late model Mustang that has a MAF sensor and a cold air that MAF sensor sits in, you're going to get your cold air from PMAS, Nick James and PMAS. If you're making well over 1,500 to 2,000 horsepower, you get one of their HPX sensors, and that sucker will be good for a very long time. Domaga Cookies, domagacookies.com. Domaga Cookies, that's right. If you want to get fat and have cookies that are named after sex acts, and they're made by a hot chick and an even way hotter guy, domagacookies.com is where you're going to go. DNAPformance.com. You're going to get your intakes. You're going to get your fuel systems, injectors, turbo kits, superchargers, wheels, tires, every single new part you can think of buying. You will buy it from DNAPformance.com. Partsarm.com. Used Mustang, Camaro, GT500, Shelby, F-150 parts, cranker pallets, door panels, interiors, basically a high-end junkyard that ships to your house. Partsarm.com. Total Solution, Remington on Total Solution, figuring out some hub situations on the Odin stuff. Good shit to talk with him. He is at Mod Nationals with a customer's car, believe it or not, and he is actually sponsoring a class. Shout out to Rami Zaidan and Belak. Belak Industries. Belak is Caleb backwards. That's his son, and he makes wheels that now the BMW guys are like ripping off. You know, Alibaba wheels or whatever. They're ripping off the wheels. Pretty interesting. So if you want to support the show and get some merchandise, you're going to go to richprince.com/YDBT. You're going to get yourself some hats. You're going to get yourself a shiesty. You get yourself a Section 8 long sleeve, short sleeve shirt, hoodie, Hush Money shirt, hoodie, long sleeve, short sleeve, ZR50, booty juice, elote juice, save the manuals, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, GT350, 85 to 86, 87 to 93, 1320 Didios, F1320, YDBT and Amory vertical, and we got stickers of the similar art design from ridgeprince.com, exclusively from ridgeprince.com/YDBT. We'll talk to the people here. We'll talk a little bit of shit, and we'll review some of the videos from the Engine Labs videos. Good stuff. It's good content. I don't think they did anything wrong. I don't think they short change the Coyote, but we'll talk about the specifics of the Coyote layout that I would have personally changed. Mine for 40, Nick, Lemonade, Bielevez, Clint Stroke, Frank Donahue, 6'8 Stang, Robo Style, Mustangs and Meatballs, 2000 FCR, John Bonanno, Dirty Mike Performance, Clean 93 GT, 6'8 Stang, Joe Jackson, Coyote Kelly, Ken Phillips, Christopher Mitchum, JD Swag, Matt Oliver, Michael Locks, D-Rock Fox, Cobra, Matt Oliver, Six Suki, AJ, Big Guns, Josh Warner. That name sounds familiar. Candice Lupus, Nardi Mercado, Joshua Judd, Alex Gutierrez, Mustang Dennis, Mark Christensen, F-150, RCSP, De Guzman, Raymond Gueen, Gregory Upfitch, Orphan of Gascoy, Pito Chiquito, Six Hills, Joe Swish, Euro Trips and Rides, Reverend Racing, 94 GT4, Craig Walls, Bill at Noon. You doing any testing? Huh? You doing any testing anytime soon? We got to get, when you get those hoodies, show them to me on email, and the stickers, Rich Print should be shipping them next week sometime. Tyler, 5-Ho, Boosted, 6 Hill, Eduardo, Bullhead, WKRP, Cincinnati, Joe Swish, Orphan of Again, Rookie, Matt Oliver, Frosty, Rizzy, F-Cam Rizzy, Jimmy Jams. You still dating the hot blonde chick? By this time, you should be engaged, and by 2 years, you should have a kid. If you're going to do the traditional shit. If not, if you're going to just build Mustangs and do stupid shit, this is your future. A 1-1 with 6 cars. Hey, it don't sound that bad. Merkstang, Frosty, Carlos Bahena, TJ Skorsky, Mach 1, ZZ Top, 5-Way, Josh Brent, Josh Rogers, and all the usual suspects. Cool. So, let's take it. What the fuck did I just do? Why did I get rid of the sponsors, Alex? Stupid. Never get rid of the sponsors. Okay. So, the shootout completed with the FFRE Coyote beating the LT by like 19 horsepower. We'll play the part where he announced the winners.
To be honest,
let's go give them a call and let's get a winner.
All right.
Actually, so let me see. I think they show horsepower at the end here. Let me see. 1419.
Yo. I saw 1420.
Yeah.
I see 1420, is that
up,
right?
Yeah, it's up there a little ways, yeah. We're still picking up pretty good gains now. 1419 and then 1151.
Ooh, that's a good torque jump.
Oh, yeah.
So 1419, 1151. I think because it looked stressful, right? I think they were having issues with the turbo kit. Now, I went back in time and I started looking at some of these stuff. So the turbo kit was not built by FFRE. The turbo kit was built by somebody else. And they ended up modifying the turbo kit in the video where I guess they didn't like the angle of the dump tube. All right. I guess Mahovitz came in and was like, oh, I can't go the dump tube.
And jumped right in and started welding up a new wastegate dump pipe for us because he didn't like the angle of the other one.
Right. So these people built the turbo kit over here. Mahovitz comes in and goes, oh, I ain't go the down pipe. We gonna change that. And everyone's like, whoa, that's what changed everything. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he probably just said, let's change that up. Now, why would he do that? He probably saw high back pressure issues, right? And everyone on that, because look, you're getting a good amount of data on an engine dyno, like really nice data. So let's stop everything and us, based on what we know, how would we have configured the Coyote? Let's say you, as Engine Lab, say you need to run a 76 millimeter HPT turbo. You need to run a 671 blower-sized intake manifold. Let's be honest, that thing is ridiculous, right? It's just stupid, but whatever, that's what they were given. And even Joe said, well, that's the manifold they wanted to use, meaning he didn't have control, right? Because I'm using their words.
It is, yeah. This is what Holley obviously wanted to use.
This is what Holley wanted to use. So if you know that the whole competition is being supplied with Holley parts, it's one big commercial for Holley. So tell me how well Holley controls VCT. Tell me how well that intake flows as compared to a reinforced boss, like 1320, I forget, Junkie, Jason Teixeira, he has a boss manifold on a customer's car that runs 6s, okay? So that's like 35 plus PSI. So let's say, for instance, you were to say, we're going to supply the turbo size, you do everything else, right? Holley is not involved. Do you think FFRE would have chosen that Holley intake? Do you think FFRE would have used Holley to control the engine? Do you think FFRE would have locked the cams? So let's say you were to say, all we're going to do is tell you the turbo size. Everything else is up to you. LME also. LME, because LME had a 5-inch downpipe, the Coyote had a 4-inch. LME had to pin the gate shut to achieve their power number. The Coyote did it with 3 less PSI. Head design, we get it. So this is the way I suspect, because I only know Coyote stuff, is what would have happened on the Coyote if control was handed over to Joe. Let's say a $30,000 budget. Here you go. VCT, active, Predator Cam VCT. That's right, a Ford Racing part number, or whatever Kelfer, GSE, Comp Cam you want. GT350 head, Gen 3 bottom end, or the complete Gen 5 or Stage 4, whatever, like the Brett's motor or Senior's motor, or the one under the Stage 3. Let's say you do that Gen 3 stuff, good cams, 5.2 head, 5.2 cam. Holley is not going to be controlling that because you want VCT active. So you would have called Junior, maybe, if you wanted a stock computer. You would have called Junior for Motec or Job Spetter, who tunes Brett's car. So you would have had 2 top-tier tuners in their fields with Motec or stock ECU, but Junior can do both. It's proven with the Grey Goose. VCT active, you would have designed the turbo kit a little differently. You would have had Ryan Eckhart in there with Senior and everyone else. Just, let's design why do you think I sent my Corvette up there and said, y'all design it, I'm out? I am giving you 0 input on the turbo kit because the best that know how to do it are there. So then the limit would have been the turbo size. I just think it would have reached that power number with less boost, less back pressure restrictions. Let's say in an alternate universe, the Coyote had VCT active and a tuner very familiar with VCT in there. I think they would have had not Holley controlling it, stock computer or Motec. You would have had, instead of 40 runs, you probably would have had, and I'm being nice here, 10. 10. You would have dialed in fueling at a certain RPM, and you just raise boost, raise boost, raise boost, and then, okay, we're hitting some back pressure stuff. So what do? You manipulate the exhaust cam a little bit, right? You less overlap or more, or just you wiggle the exhaust cam in such a way to see if the power shifts. With the push rod, you can't do that. You just say, it's locked where it's locked. That's all we got. Let's pin the gate shut, make power. With a Coyote, you have negated the best feature of the Coyote. It's the ability to move in real time the cams to have an optimal position. They could have probably diagnosed it better. We have files in our ticket system, or we have files in our production file system where if we think a guy has back pressure issues, we send a tune. If the back pressure, if the valve float goes away, we know there's an issue and it's a cam timing change. And we vet that by saying, try this. Oh, valve float, try this. No valve float, you got back pressure issues. So I think not that it would have beaten it by 300 horsepower, but I think the Coyote would have won regardless and probably made the same power on less boost if twin independent variable cam timing was there, and if they had their choice of a plasma man, they had their choice of a different intake, whatever. Because Holley was basically flipping the bill, they probably said, you got to run our intake, you got to run our Holley control system, and it's apples to apples. And you know what? Sure, apples to apples. Both had the same intake, both had the same turbo, both had the turbo kit made somewhere else, both made about the same power. The Coyote did it a little more efficiently, but it took more runs to get there, because I think to move the cams on a Coyote is no small feat. Like, in the comment section of the Engine Lab video, you're going to be in there and you're going to get eye aids. you're going to get the most eye aids of eye aids you'll ever see. A lot of people are saying really stupid stuff like Joe could have moved the cams anywhere he wanted, but no, you don't understand how much of a process that is, as opposed to just going in a tune and going, let me just, instead of 15 degrees of the exhaust cam, let me just do 13, or let me go to 20 at peak RPM past 5,000. And then you would have been like, oh, look, it's power's going up, power's going down. So you probably would have had 10 pulls, reached the conclusion a lot sooner, not rag it out. But, they probably had to weld some downpipe stuff because they were probably having the similar issues that the LME motor was having with back pressure issues. They just pinned the gate shut, see you later. The downpipe or whatever, the wastegate tube or down, whatever the fuck it was that Mahovis welded, he didn't like the angle. I don't think that caused a 200 horsepower gain. I just think it caused it to see less back pressure issues, and they were able to just keep bumping up boost past that point. So I don't think it's a bad competition. I don't think they did the Holley, the Coyote a disservice. But there was less control on, let's say, both teams. Let's say both teams were like, well, this is what we were stuck with, right? Because I don't care about the push rod side of things. I care about the Coyote side of things. If they had 100% control of the situation, a different intake, a different control system, VCT active, it would have achieved the 1419, 1420, 1430 a lot sooner. Now, that's all to say that the people in there that give you eye aids by looking at the comment section say the dumbest shit like, the turbo's the limiting factor. Boy, you're thinking a Coyote is going to lose a turbo dick swinging competition versus you think a VCT active Plasma Man Coyote is going to lose if you put bigger or twin turbos on it to this engine? Boy, put the 6-liter in there. Put the 7-liter in there. The 5-liter Coyote with twins? Boy, stop it. Because if you're going to fuck around and find out, you're going to see that the Coyote was severely limited by that little turbo. It's dying for more. It's like, it made that power with 3 less pounds of boost. So imagine twins or a bigger turbo. Boy, stop it. And VCT active. And you have to get someone familiar with VCT on the keyboard. So if you got a contract junior for $25,000 fucking dollars, because that's what it'll take, he'll do it. Or Job's better, because the guy is obviously very talented, and he now is tuning Brett's car with VCT active. Ain't like, why wouldn't you mimic the top tier current running Coyote out there if it went from locked cams to VCT and it's just magically running better? Why wouldn't you mimic that? I think it's a good thing, Engine Labs. You did a good job. But wait until you see, and I don't have any insider information, but we saw the C10 truck that supposedly has this Coyote in it. It's over. It's not even going to be remotely close. It's going to beat the shit out of the LS, and then the Chevy guys are going to go, yeah, well, we need a bigger turbo. It's the little one. Get the 7-liter in there. Unlimited turbo size. Balls to the wall. All the shit. M1. Let's go. All my chips on the Coyote. Good shit to check it out. I think it's one of those things where it gives the industry something to talk about. Probably didn't make any money because it didn't really do well in terms of YouTube metrics. It's just one of those, like, you've beaten a dead horse. Now they want to do a stock engine challenge. Stop that too. Stop that too. Engine Labs, stop comparing Gen 2 and up Coyotes to anything LS, anything or LT. It's over. It is now time for Engine Labs to pick on the Pookies with their Hemis. Pick on that. That's your bread and butter. Coyote, different league. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Craig Wall says that turbo definitely seemed awful restrictive on the exhaust side for both motors. 80 millimeter turbine wheel is more suitable for an import. And it kind of suited the higher revving Coyote with better airflow cylinder head, right? It was like, oh, here you go. So if they want to make a real competition, you get what you give them $100,000 budget each. Give them both $100,000 budget and say, y'all figure it out. Show up to the dyno, do the thing. So what will happen? Whoever has the push rod motor is going to be there making 25 dyno pulls. And then you're going to get whoever is if it's John Lund or Job Spetter, and the turbo kit is laid out exactly like the tuner wants it, the cam specs, the head specs, the intake specs. And if Joe is able to say, I'm getting my team together and I'm going to build the most Billy Badass Coyote setup, and we think this thing is going to make twin turbo, whatever turbo size, get after it. They probably duplicate Senior's or Brett's setup and say, Here's 3,800 horse or 3,300 horse. Bro, stop it. That's what I'm saying, because look, this is what you got to do. You got to pay everybody. You got to pay the turbo kit guy. You got to pay for the engine time. Like all the badass shit. Give me the best shit. What's the quickest an LS LT motor has ever run ever? Come on, guys. Brett's motor at World Cup went 6.0. That was a stock Predator block at the time. Name an LS, anything, LT, anything. I know you're going to say some dumb stuff like the 4-cylinder EcoBoost Chevy version went 5s. I am talking LS, LT versus Coyote. Show me the quickest, fastest LS, LT, anything, period. They said we were making 98 PSI on the back pressure. What? Like 8-1? Looking at the Sentai roll bar in my garage, okay. Whole test was pointless. Holley back pressure shootout. Both sides should demand a new one with bigger turbos and more freedom on the build. I agree. That's what I'm saying. Unlimited. You, FFRE, contract whoever you want to build the turbo kit. You, LME, or name your engine builder. You get the best of the best. Y'all get whatever injector you want. Basically, we're just going to contract the engine dyno portion for a day each. And y'all, may the best man win. And the budget is crazy because everyone's got to get paid. Like, taking time out of your day, it's crazy. GM's new overhead cam motor came too late. Coyote will be king for a long time. That is a proper comparison. The Chevy dual overhead cam motor that is in the ZR1 and the Z06, that is the one. That's the one, Engine Labs. That's the one you got to get your hands on. That's the one the GM guys got to learn. That's the one the GM guys got to learn to tune. And guess what? You're going to be basically tuning a Coyote. But because I don't know the language, the tuning language that GM is using, I don't know that you'll have like a ton of adjustability. We'll see. To be honest, when I see Holley intake on that Coyote, I really knew it was a disadvantage. Right, a 670. How is your intake manifold the same size as a 671 or an 871 blower? That is we went backwards. I thought turbo stuff was there to make it sleek, low profile, and unassuming. No, we then put the intercooler on top of the engine that's spewing a lot of heat. You would have thought you would have had the intercooling divorced from the heat in the front, radiating in the front. Air to water or air to air in the front. Some genius was like, nah, let's add 18 inches to the top of the engine and put it on top of the motor. Well, isn't that a good... Why would you do that? I love seeing turbo setups where all you see is a pipe going to the intake manifold and you're like, wow, that's clean. Tons of room to work. If you have like a mid-mount kit, like an Aldo kit, right? You open the hood. Oh my God, I can work on this thing. No problem. Spark plug easy to get to. Intake easy to take out. It's just a tube going to it because all the shit is at the bottom. The intercooler's in the front. Really nice. Nah, let's just shove it on top of the motor and add 18 inches to the motherfucker because why not? Stupidity. Sorry. If the 5.5 Chevy was a normal setup, I'd say compare them, but it's probably too expensive. Yeah, big time. We still have LS Tard saying $500 5.3 with 300,000 miles on it, going to make 400 horsepower without doing nothing to it. Engine Labs needs to understand this. Stock for stock, no LS ever made can beat the power. Listen to my words. Stock for stock. Boost, fuel. Unopened motors. Give me that Gen 3 because of the manifold, right? Give me that Gen 3. Whip it up with boost and give me the Gen 2. Fuck it. 1,000, Show me 1,000 horsepower LS, LT, pushrod, anything that can make 1,000 boost in fuel. Don't say LS9. That bitch needs a cam before it pukes its guts out. YOLO Raceworks should sponsor round 4. Yeah, I don't have that much kind of money. That kind of money. Orphan says, you're 100% right. They should have say both get X amount of money and do what you want. That's the way to do it. Because then there's going to be a huge difference. There's going to be exotic stuff, like the LS guys are probably, oh man, let's M1 and let's have a 7-liter and let's have it rev high. Let's do all this stuff. And then FFR is going to show up with a 5-liter, 5.2 aluminum rodded engine with a plasma man, air to air, M1, 16 injectors, twin 80 somethings, and make 3,300. Now what? $100,000 billet block. Yodi LT boys don't want to see that thing coming. Billet block, Yodi. Yeah. So because we saw what MMR was able to do, I know it's sacrilegious language around here, but let's be honest. They own the quickest Coyote, period. Vehicle, engine ever done. 260 plus miles an hour, 560 in the quarter, or 570 or whatever. I mean, stop it. That's a record that's been around for like almost 10 years now. We are now starting to creep up on that. And maybe the guys at MMR are like, that bitch is not even leaving the corner of our shop until someone touches 5s. 5.3 won the comp. In my opinion, that thing wasn't even direct competitor to the 5.0. That's the LT1. Wonder why they didn't use it. 5.3 won the comp. How did the 5.3 win anything? It literally lost it. Is there a current V8 is there a current LT LS that is a 5.3 in a current vehicle, or are they all 6.2s? Bringing my car to Coyote House next week and getting a Lund tune. Can't wait. Nice. Infinite. GM locking tuning on the dual overhead cam motor C8s. It's almost as gay as Farley. LS guys will talk about how the Coyote is too big and fit into anything and then stick a 2-foot tall intake on their shit. That is wonderful. That's excellent. Because how many times have you seen a really nice Corvette with a Holley Haram sticking out of the hood? Do you know how stupid that looks to me? Like, get a cowl induction hood. I don't know. A Holley Haram, and they cut out the hood. They cut out the back. And I'm like, boy, don't talk about the Coyote. The Coyote's just a little wider. And it fits a C6 engine bay. I proved it. A dumbass. Clearly, it was a no replace for displacement mindset when they took the size of that manifold, or they mindset on the size of that manifold. LS, Gatard in the chat. No, that's okay. Look, I don't mind that. LS equals losing streak. Again, it didn't lose by a lot. 5.3 is a truck engine. Get LT1. No, because they don't want to lose 3 times in a row. 5.3, a truck engine. No. The 5.3 would have lost too. The 5.3 would have lost with that turbo, the cylinder head. It would have lost. Why would the 5.3 port injection engine with the same turbo, same heads, probably similar cam, what would it have made? It would have made the same power. No LS or LT can make any good power without opening it up, period. LS been king so long, they don't want to take the L. It's been around long, and the Coyote's been around 10 years. No more, 14 years. So, I don't know. Putting a 5.3 in my OBS Chevy truck, it's the only time an LS swap makes sense. I agree. It has its place. But now that the Coyote is doing what it does, and you can get a stock Coyote intake to oil pan to run well into the 8s with doing absolutely no work to the motor, you can't compare that to anything else. Again, once the dual overhead cam variant of the Chevy stuff starts coming around, oh yeah, I think that's going to be really, really good. Holley favors the intake sticking out of the hood. Yee LS crap. I agree. Having an LS personally, they can't compare, but I'm poor, so I get it. Do you think the reason why the Gen 4 Coyote isn't much better than the Gen 3 is because Ford tapped out what they can do with that displacement design from the factory? A lot of dual overhead cam engines are around 5.5 liters. So, yes, even the race 5.5 liters, even the race engines are only 5.5 liters. Look, you got to understand, the manufacturers are beholden to emissions. Everything is emissions related, okay? So you're going to start seeing, I don't think in the next 5 years, I don't think they're all of a sudden going to go, oh, all of that R&D to make it emissions compliant, we're just going to throw it away because who knows what the next administration is going to do. Let's say for whatever reason, Dominion Voting Systems goes back and starts, wiggling things around, and you get another Democrat in office. All of their tooling to like the DPF stuff to me is so weird that people are like, yeah, now we can delete DPFs. No, you cannot. Sorry. Whatever laws were instituted at the time, unless they are removed and rolled back, your DPF piece of shit, because it is with EPA's guidance, do they then allow some kind of, they're not going to say chop it off. Oh yeah, it's legal to chop off the particulate filter. No, it's still illegal to do so. Because what they're going to do is this. From this point on, the trucks won't go into limp mode if the DPF has an issue. That's all they're doing. So they're basically going wink, wink, wink. If you delete it, you don't need to change the tune. But it is not legal to remove a DPF from a truck that needs tunes to run properly. Coyote made more power with less boost. LS guys, the LS still won. Exactly. Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you need to walk away. I'm half awake, but let me go. Let me get a ditty. Let's get a ditty in there. You know, the more I hear that, when he says, fuck that shit, he's literally fucking... fuck that shit. Right? Like, am I crazy? He's literally telling him to F that S. Fuck that shit, poor guy. After the 24 to 25 F-150 stock review, will there be a Lund Tune review video? I think I already did. So I got a message on, I guess this guy watches me. Let me see. Way back okay, I'm just gonna say this, and I'm not gonna say who sent it to me, but it's interesting that I get messages during the show. So way back in 2012, Holley marketing executives went around and offered probably 1,000 people $300 a month. All you had to do for that $300 a month was a subtle about demonstrating or showing Holley products on all of your social media with a minimum number of posts per month. They offered it to this person, but he declined it. Richard Holdner, James Lawrence, Freiberger, Finnegan, Reynolds, blah, 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 etc., who took it. To my knowledge, that program is probably still ongoing. I mean, I'm not against that, sir, because I get paid per month to talk about PMAS, oh my God, DNA. Bellac doesn't pay me, but I just think their product's so awesome, and they've given me such great deals that I feel like I owe them that. Parts Farm pays me, and Two Auto Solution pays me. So I don't think that's a bad thing. I guess Grub Room would be fast. I know with the LT platform. Okay, got it. I don't know what he's talking about. Alex ran 12-1 at 130 yesterday. Need a slick. Drag radio isn't going to make it. Mile per hour is there for a high-tech second pass. So... by the way, shout out to Eric Vega. Happy belated birthday. Code Red. He is at Mod Nats. He's having a good time. Flinging belts. Having the same issue Valley 10 Speed was having. So he's about this far away from getting called a dumb Hispanic Neanderthal by the owner of the Wishblower company. But in all seriousness, he has a clutch tamer on his S550. And, you know, he cut a 1.360 foot at Mod Nats, which a lot of people are mad that Mod Nationals prep is really bad. And I don't know what happens in that circumstance when you run an event. Who preps the track? Who pays for the prep? You like what level of prep is expected at that kind of event? Who preps it? You know, so I'm kind of wondering, I don't want to put it on the track. I don't want to put it on the event. I don't know. But why is it that track specifically seems like you saw No Mercy or Lights Out, whichever one last one was. Prep wasn't great until like late at night and the track cools down. Does anyone know when the EPA is rolling back emissions rules official? I don't think they're rolling back anything. You need to understand, Mango. I don't think they can go back and go, everything when the fuck did the emissions get crazy? 2015? 2011? Like 2011, 2010? They're not going to be like, if you remove your cats, it's all good. No, they would have lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. It'd be tied up in the courts forever. There'd be stays. There'd be this. There'd be that. I just don't think that's going to ever get rolled back. I think what's going to happen is from this point forward, from this timeline forward, the rules aren't as strict. That's all. They said the Camaro might come back. I think it would make sense to throw a detuned LT6 from a C8Z, 550 horse. That would be my opinion. That'd be a $90,000 car. What's up, Alex and chat? I'm here for an hour late, and did it matter how many passes it took for the Coyote to win, or was it an operator error? Not being a smartass. No. We talked about the fact that let's speculate. Joe puts the cams here. Someone else built a turbo kit because someone else built the turbo kit. They get it to the dyno finally. They start wicking it up, and it's starting to nose over, right? So it's not making the power. Oh, we need more pressure on the wastegate to make power. So they get they go from shop air to like a tank of 1,000 psi. Okay, now boom. Okay, yeah, we're just hitting a wall. We're hitting a wall. Mahovich shows up and he's like, "Well, I think that dump pipe has got to be changed." Okay, so he changed the dump pipe, and it's like, okay, gain 20. Shit, what do we do? So I'm thinking they're seeing back pressure go up. And they're like, well, do we just blow past it and just command more on the gate and just blow past it? Because I'm sure they're looking at the data and they're like, back pressure's 2-to-1, 3-to-1. What the fuck? So he goes in there, pulls the spark plugs. I'm like, I guess we just keep commanding more. I don't know. And see what it gets. Who knows? So maybe there might have been a conversation about, man, if we could move that exhaust cam, it would be pretty slick. And again, who's tuning it? Not to say that person is bad at all. I don't know. But I do know that if it was Joe, John, a Motec, or stock computer, you would have reached that conclusion sooner, and you would have found the fix sooner. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it would have been better or made more power. I'm just saying you would have been sipping coffee by 11 a.m. as opposed to stressing the fuck out till 6 p.m. And that's all I can speculate because I wasn't there and no one tells me anything because I have the show. I'm thinking of the past. Remember how East Coast shop owner said that LSLT needs HCI in addition to premium fuel? That was just validated in the big scale exposure. Johnny Force has been 389. Johnny Force has been 389 at 335 in his mile per hour. 2025 Coyote Camaro. That's got an LT motor in it, right? Says Clint Stroke. I just joined, not the Diddy soundboard. Big government and the EPA will return when those 20,000 votes reappear. Right, exactly. What if Engine Labs does a VK6? Look, Engine Labs, stop comparing the pushrod Chevy anything to the Coyote anything. The problem is this is Ford Mustang versus Camaro. Right? Like nobody puts the Silverado in the same planet as the F-150, right? Like no one goes, oh yeah, well I'm going to build a Silverado to bust your ass. Unless it's a cat eyes 5.3, you put a junkyard motor in it, turbos out the dick. But when it comes to stock for stock, nobody goes, yeah, let me get the 10-speed Silverado up against the F-150. Boy, nobody makes that comparison. So I think they're just trying to like glom off of that. And the views, they're bad. Let me see. Look, turbo fabrication video, 5,000 views, right? 5,000 views, 6 minutes long. Dyno shootout, 40,000 views, very good. Putting the engine together, 21,000 views. I think that's it. Let me see. Let me go to Engine Labs.
Hi there.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, Coyote of Doom. That's stupid. Okay. 16,000, 9,000, 3,000. Mind blown. 15,000, 1,000. Jesus Christ. Gapping piston rings only got you 1,000 views. Yeah, you lost money there, bro. Fabricating the turbo kit, 5,000 views. LME's VVT delete made life simpler for our Turbo 5.3, 1,500 views. Then the final shootout, 40,000. This was not And again, Engine Labs only has 10,000 subscribers, but they have West Tech, they have Holley, they had FFRE, they had LME, big players. Nobody gave a fuck. Super Dave jumps the Grand Canyon. He said he sees 10 million views. So, your audience is not there. The audience is not there. Nobody is watching that. Let me go to my shit. My YouTube studio. Let me just go to the live streams content. Well, that's live streams. It's different. Yeah, someone has to be locked in for an hour and a half, which is wild. All right. Oh, yeah. My last video got, negated. Let me see. So, look at so, my live streams. 4,000, 7,000, 7,000, 8,000, 8,000, 9,000. Wow, how am I getting so much views? 9,000, 6,000, 7,000, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 8. So 6,000 to 8,000 is what I average. And I'm a Puerto Rican in a 1-1. I don't have Holley behind me. I don't got FFRE building me motors. Like, if I had the access to that shit, stop it. Yeah, the intake looks so stupid. And somebody said, what plastic intake do you think is going to be able to take that? Boss intake! Let me go find the comment. 1 reply, 2 replies. Glad you're enjoying it. I'm a Chevy boy. Engine Labs. I think he's talking about final pulls for ease. The Coyote hit 29 PSI. The LT was 32 PSI. Got it. Let me look at the comments. Let's look at the comments together. They're AIDS. I mean, you get Freddie Mercury, I AIDS, ASAP. Honestly, the 5.3 is the winner here. Honestly, the 5.3 won because the 5.0 didn't make 100 more horse on a power limited turbo. The Coyote did it with OE cylinder heads and the stock bottom end. Damn, I remember that room. Who cares? No losers. Both engines are great. Okay, good attitude. That's a good attitude. But somebody said something about a plastic intake. Alfredo Diaz. It would have been an absolute embarrassment for the LS if the Coyote was able to keep the superior stock ECU and VCT. Probably would have taken 3 pulls versus 40 to make peak power and reduce spool up while mitigating back pressure issues. Boy, it's almost like he knows what he's talking about. There's a reason why the fastest Coyotes in the world use VCT and run either stock ECU or Motec. 18 replies. Well, shows how good the Coyote is, I guess. My God. 3 pulls to make 1,400. My wife also says, Alfredo Diaz, which plastic intake are you suggesting 28 to 35 during the race portion? And I said, Boss reinforced intake or 2018 to 23 stock GT Mustang manifold. This is coming from experience, not a 671 blower sized intake manifold. That is just stupidity. No, thank you. Chuck Wozrinski. Only thing EPA and other government agencies can do is interpret the laws that Congress passes by making rules. Whether those rules are constitutional or actually lawful is a different matter. Right, so think about it this way. The EPA doesn't make laws. The EPA interprets and enforces laws. And yeah, it's an enforcement agency. So the law is still active. So the EPA cannot just say this law is gone. They can just choose to not enforce it. So they're like, well, we're just going to not really enforce DPF deletes. Nobody will say that, because if you see these yee motherfuckers going, like, some of the dumbest posts I ever see are from diesel guys. And again, I don't consider them to be in the same industry as I'm in. Nope, I don't think so. Sorry, diesel guys. I'm not going to sit there and go, you have a right to blow thick black smoke in my face. Like, what's the worst we do? And again, those are your... Oh, Jesus, that's Jake. Jake, I'm doing a show. Jake, every Sunday. Yeah. Every Sunday I do a show. I guess I got to call him back. I'm going to call him back live. I'm going to say he's live. Let's do that. I do a show every Sunday. Like, when have I not done a show? So I was up till 2 a.m. helping Jake because he had issues with his some stuff. I want to say, hey, Jake, you're live. What do you want? Hey, you're live. What's up, man?
Oh, great.
I'm doing the show.
I thought it was Saturday mornings.
No. I was hanging out with you Saturday morning. Oh, no. I was at the gym. So what's up? Did you find anything?
No, I cranked it to set the cam timing again.
Okay.
I just don't remember where we left
We needed to go bank 2, needed to move counterclockwise. Yeah, like 15. Basically, the exhaust has to be 15 and 15. Or as close to 15 as possible. One of them was 18, the other one jumped to 5. And I think bank 2 jumped to 5. So we have to go counterclockwise on bank 2 exhaust cam to achieve that.
So right now I've got 16
okay.
on bank 1, and I got 24 on bank 2.
So you went too far on bank. So you went too far clockwise on bank 2.
Go back 9 degrees, basically.
Yeah, you basically, yeah, which is like cunt hair, just a little bit.
Yeah. All right, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good, brother. Bye. For those of you that think that Jake doesn't call me for cam angle adjustment, Alex doesn't know nothing. Alex doesn't know nothing. Fucking 2 a.m. helping. I love the guy. We are basically vetting cam timing on a stock computer before he puts the MS3 on it. So that's what I was basically doing. I was like, you got to go. And I actually told him which way he has to move the cam to achieve that. So yeah, I don't know nothing. Yeah, I know you can hear Jake. Yeah, I told him he was live, so he was on his best behavior. Tell Jake I said hello. We're doing it live to tape. Damn it, Jake, support your boy on Sundays. Jake is trolling you. No, he's not. He doesn't care about the show. He doesn't even know when it's happening. I have a 700 horsepower 3rd gen Cummins, super clean. But the handhelds with canned tunes are nasty. I don't know how Smarty and Edge got away with those canned tunes. Jake and Alex are bad dudes. Dude, yesterday I learned a lot about cam timing. Adjusting it manually on a locked cam setup. And I'm like, I don't need a degree wheel. Yesterday, you know what I found out doing that shit with Jake? I don't need a degree wheel. If it's a stock cam and I know the optimum performance angles shown on a data log, I can just literally get it to where I need it to get by literally data logging the cam angle at startup. Super. And I was like, I don't need a degree wheel. I have a data log. Good morning, I'm late. Gotcha. I commented and they implied they contacted Lund Racing. You mean FFRE or do you mean Engine Labs? I can verify if they were, I can verify if they did that. Jake, you want to go fishing, man? Bro, you know the fishing story. Every time I've gone fishing with Jake, I've almost died. Nope, not cutting keys. And I'm not going to give it away because I don't want everyone else to. But the thing is, you need to know visually where the cams have to be. Let's say on a turbo GT3. This is a turbo GT350 motor he's doing. So I didn't know this, and this might blow your minds. Excuse me. The GT350 motor, even though the intake cam is mid-lock, the cam timing procedure is like Gen 1. And I was like, what? And Jake verified it on the Ford All-Tel, whatever it's called. And I was like, so once we knew that, we knew one bank was 180 degrees off because we did the Gen 2 timing procedure on a GT350 motor. So once we did that, we put the cams where we thought they'd be, and then it needed to go more advanced because the number was high. And I said, well, this number needs to be, let's say, 12. So if it's 20, it has to go this way. So I literally took channel locks, put it on the exhaust cam, loosened it, and went, chugga, chugga, chugga. Holy shit. I'm like, I don't need a degree wheel. I know how to set it based on the cam angle that the data log shows up. I'm like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. Sean Burnham says, or Burnham. So the LS got all kinds of help, like aftermarket cylinder heads. Thank you. This is what people are failing to see. So the LS got all kinds of help like aftermarket cylinder heads, aftermarket camshaft. But the Coyote got neutered of its best feature. They got an aftermarket camshaft, I'm sure. Sounds like a fair comparison to me, right? But LME would say, well, we got rid of VVT. Well, you got rid of VVT because it's a problem on your setup. Whereas on the Coyote, it is a feature. It is the best feature. It's where the magic happens. People don't understand that you can, let's say, for instance, let's say your car has No vacuum at idle. Heavy overlap. To get the motor to spool up, these cams need to reach an RPM where they're happy. So how many times have you heard a Coyote go, and then Senior's car goes, actually, I'm gonna see if I can, you need to listen to these cars. And it did not, 4 seconds, right? Let's listen up here. This is Senior's car. Okay. So let's listen to this, and I wish I could put a timer. 3 seconds? Three and a half seconds? Let me see. Okay, let's do. There you go. 3.5 seconds between the 2 seconds here he starts to rev to the 6 seconds here. This is flame, so I'm thinking 6. This is 6. This is 5. So right around here he starts. Let's see, 2 seconds. Let's go. So maybe 4.5 seconds. 4.5 seconds, right? Okay. I'd love to find another Coyote that took a year to spool up. I commented on the video stating the same things you have. Says it's just a spick. Does your name says it's just a spick? It's just a spick, says. Could you imagine Engine Labs like, well, mister, it's just a spick, said that. With you find out you don't need a degree wheel. Does that change anything for Hush Money? No, Hush Money is going to be carbureted. No. See, that verifies. You know what? It changes. It changes something for Section Hate. Section Hate I am having because Section Hate has a Gen 2 phaser, Gen 2 intake cam, Gen 1 exhaust cam. It changes something for Section Hate because I'm having cam control issues with Section Hate. And that's because I have a wonky setup, and that's how the motor came to me. So I could take the cams off and put Gen 1 timing stuff in there, but that's a lot of fucking work. So when you run your Gen 2 cams on a Gen 1, do you do the Gen 1 or Gen 2 timing procedure? Well, if you run Gen 2 cams, you do Gen 2 phasers and Gen 2 sprockets and Gen 2 everything. I would think you do Gen 2 because the Coyote doesn't care. The Coyote long block is the same crank. Crank cylinder heads don't matter, right? Cams matter. So if you got Gen 2 cams on a Gen 1 motor, you basically got a Gen 2 motor. So, and I'm talking phaser, sprocket, crank sprocket, because it's indexed for Gen 2 stuff. As a Game Arrow owner, I confidently say the Coyote is better. I'm with you on, it comes up on boost faster than mine does, says Craig Walls. Right, it's fast. Now, back what I was talking about is that, so if you see the, god damn, my wrist hurts. If you see how the cam looks, the cam, ooh, and then it'll go like this, and then I think it hits a certain spot and the cam drops off, and then it launches, then the cams go, boom, optimal performance. So there's, the cams are going, you know? So the cam exhaust is locked, right? So let's say this is the exhaust cam, and I'm just going by visual, right? So imagine the cam angle, you're spooling up, this is intake, and it goes, launches, then it goes, okay, it likes to be here after this 8,000 RPM, 6,000 RPMs. So you have now gone like this to manipulate spool up and put the cam in the best position for horsepower. Why would you lock it if you at that level? Now, Section 8 is a blower car. There is no spool up. He said, whap! They don't give a fuck. Not just any aftermarket. My LME had one spec specifically for this competition. It's just a spick. That's your username on YouTube. You motherfucker, I love it. I was surprised they replied. Did they do at? Where is it? Hey, it's just a spick. On which video? I'll go in there. Which video? Which video, man? Was it the winner? Let me see. The winner video? No, that's not it. That's not it. I gotta find It's Just a Spick. Okay, let me go in there. Riley Neufeld. Riley Neufeld's in there. The Emery's in there. Ah, man, I love you guys. You guys are the best, man. Seriously, we built something special here. Riley Neufeld's talking to Josh. That's the problem. The motor is more expensive than the Coyote. Case in point. Why it took them $8,000 extra, which is chump change in order to get close to a stock cam Coyote with a short block for all intents and purposes. Limit this build to $5,000 and even close. The Coyote is the best performance per dollar per engine. Unless you're looking at a junkyard LS who needs a total overhaul potential, running good, low mileage 15 to 20 Coyote, where the 50 GT needs motor boost, good fuel, and a combo take. Yep, fuck you, on the money. Where's It's Just a Spick? Let me see. Hey, It's Just a Spick. Hey, Spick. Yes, the Dyno video. But where are you? Where are you? Who did you reply to? Kona Blue GT. Nice. NA 4-valve. Josh. Chris. A lot of arguments. This is the cool thing about the internet. We could just bench race. It's cool. What a name. This is a Dyno. You're welcome for the screen name. Toxic03. LS is king. Which one overall sick week? Yeah, people go crazy. Kona Blue GT. KC. LT ain't 25-year-old technology. Just saying, hey, thank you, Engine Labs. I like it. But they're saying push rod, blah, blah, blah. Where's It's Just a Spick? Damn. Dave, Irish, Stroke, Chris. Here he is. Okay, It's Just a Spick. 2 days ago. Can't speak for the LS, but the Coyote was limited by Holley. Had to use their weird tower intercooler setup, ECU and throttle body, which was a VMP Twin 67, I think. Or not. And because of the ECU lacking in VCT control, whether limited or none at all, they locked out the cams. VCT is one of the highlights of the Coyote. On top of that, not being tuned by someone that regularly tunes Coyotes, they should have left all the tuning side to be chosen by the engine builder. So the best tuners for each platform would tune them. I agree, because you're giving them both the benefit of the doubt. I would bet money that the stock ECU and Lund tuning on the Coyote would have taken a much bigger lead in probably less half the time Dyno runs as well. Engine Labs. Did you just start talking VCT, Engine Labs? VCT could possibly have changed things in the test, but the tuner wasn't. Whoa! Stop it! Stop it! The tuner wasn't part of the. Okay. Sorry. The current motor that was in front of this tuner was a locked cam Coyote. So yes, they are correct by saying the tuner wasn't part of this limitation because that motor had locked cam Coyotes. Just because you don't know Tommy's name doesn't mean he's not the man behind a lot of the high horsepower Coyotes. Locked cam Coyotes. And how do you know that nobody called Lund? In Joe, we trust. I don't think they called Lund to tune that car, or maybe they said, would you be willing to? And the moment they saw Holley, they puked for a half hour and then said, no, thank you. Hey, what's up, John? Yeah, what's up? Man, we got this competition against the LS LT. We're going to build a stage 3 Coyote with a 871 intercooler. And then Junior. Okay, hold on. 11 Labs, log in. This is how I think Junior replied. Let me see. Voices. Oh, text to speech. Here we go. Junior must have been like, are they tuning it with? Okay, there we go. This is what Junior might have said when they asked him.
What operating system are they tuning it with?
And they're like, well, Holley. We're doing Holley. Yeah. and this is what I suspect Junior said when they said we're going to use Holley to tune it.
Holy butt fucking Christ. I'd rather tune with a A9L computer in my asshole before I touch Holley.
Yeah, that's exactly what I suspect a Junior might have said. So, like, why? Yeah, I'm going to pass on that Holley situation. I'm good. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Motec, okay. 1791 Tricor, okay. TC 298, okay. Copperhead, okay. Holley. Sean says, Holley and the sponsors don't want the Coyote to do well. What do they sell that improves the Coyote? Not a goddamn thing. The Coyote left the factory far better and optimized than the LSLT. That is a wonderful point. The reason you don't see a huge aftermarket for the Coyote is because in factory form, it doesn't get much better. What cylinder head do you buy to upgrade the Coyote? A GT350 cylinder head or a Boss cylinder head? Factory stuff. What's the best camshaft that belongs on a Coyote? A 5.2 spec Predator cam with the proper lobes for Gen 2 cylinder head. A factory style cam. What needs to happen is somebody needs to go and make that 5.2 spec cam for Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. Putazo. Here we go, doing it live. What did he say? Commodore 64 level operating system. Junior, damn Alex, get it up. Damn engine. Hello. Sorry, I'm late. It's just a spick. The Dyno video. Okay, we got that. Moats quarter horse. Junior, as soon as he hears Holley Canelo, get the fuck out of here, or I'm gonna fuck you.
Hey, get the fuck out of here because I'm gonna fuck you out right now, motherfucker.
Yeah. Now, why would I tune with Holley? Like, Junior sees Holley logs and he's like, I'm gonna puke with just. And you know, Holley tuners are fine if you don't have to get fancy with shit, right? If you don't got to get fancy with shit, cams. If Holley had, and let's be honest, none of us like Holley, right? Holley is a multinational owned corporation. It's China. It's like it or whoever, right? Holley isn't like mom and pop. Right. And you know, the funny thing is, right, there was an article that way back in the day that one of the Patreon members, by the way, Patreon is just fucking badass. What the fuck? There it is. So this is a 2018 article, right? And this is where I wonder if this thought process is still, 2019 article. I wonder if Holley still thinks this way. Blah, 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 VCT controller, blah, blah, blah. This part really made me, look at this paragraph. While there's always pros and cons of VCT, while there's always a debate over the pros and cons of, variable cam timing in a racing engine, benefits of a street engine are rarely disputed. Most VCT isn't good for over 8,000 RPMs, says Lawrence. What the fuck are you talking about? Meanwhile, the Gray Goose is a 10,000 RPM son of a bitch. On an all-out drag race car, I would not bother with VCT. And the reason being your operating range is very small. You stupid. Usually a couple thousand RPMs, says Holley engineer Ryan Witt. In that small RPM range, the cam movement becomes quite minimal to maintain peak power, a couple of degrees of movement, and only relates to a couple of % power at best. So the benefit versus the risk doesn't add up. So does Holley still subscribe to that 5 years later? Because their controller hasn't changed. Their software hasn't changed. I don't know. Show me a VCT operated Holley Coyote car that runs a number. Like, impressive number. 8 6s have been done with a factory computer. So, yeah, sorry. The LSLT leaves a lot on the table from the factory. I say that all the time. John would probably rather tune with a Duino or Mega Squirt, then Holley. Yes. Factory oval timing gears too. Yes, factory oval timing gears, not the perfectly round stuff. Holley's going to do what they do because it helps business. I agree. Yes, I need that cam on my Gen 1. Right. The best cam anyone can make for the aftermarket on all Coyote platforms is exactly the 5.2 Voodoo / Predator spec camshaft, but Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3 spec. Period. End of sentence. And if you want to do it for Gen 4, do it for Gen 4 too, because they're not mid-lock. They're the same parked cam position as Gen 1. So you have to fit the journals, the high-pressure fuel pump lobe, blah, blah, blah. Junior would probably rather tune AED carb over Holley. Yeah, but if you tune it wrong, they threaten to show up to your house and beat you up. Boy, that would have been interesting. I opened the door. You're going to beat me up? Engineer, by the way. When I hear Holley, the first thing that comes to my mind is Cleater and his mouth-breathing fans. Unfortunately, they're pretty directly correlated. That's what happens when you talk about stupid things you don't know about. You look stupid. Fuel Tech can't even do VCT right. Exactly. Hey, Alex, can Lund give us a Black Friday tune discount this year? Fuck no. I would actually raise prices. Black Friday sale? Nope. Black Friday spike. Will all the issues with Circle D, has anyone used a PTC converter in a 6R and had good outcome? I might or might not know someone that has a converter in a really, 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 really fast Mustang. I might. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. Let me ask a question. Here we go. I asked a question just to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here. Put an F-cam in it. I ran 790 stock motor on Holley. I ran 790 like in the 8th. Stock motor lock cams with VCT? Or, yeah. I don't know if you're being serious. Hello. Good morning, says Cody Lewis. Mod Nats was fun. The prep sucked, but enjoyed meeting fellow AMRI members. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Sometimes the track isn't going to be there, so you have to race the track, and prep it and get a handle on it. I get it. It's not always going to be super sticky. I was just happy that Eric Vega was able to take his family across from Texas to Georgia, afford a hotel room, gas, meals, racing, belts, and go back home and not be broke as shit. Like the AMRI provided like $4,000 to the dude. And, he probably has a little extra money in his pocket. And, he's just a regular guy, works as a tech at Ford. And it's just like, if he could never afford to do it because of that, I was happy that the AMRI, you guys, and followers was able to help a guy achieve a dream like that. I think that's really cool. I remember he's going to have to fly down and have a conversation with you. Yeah, right. I remember that. I want to turbo on my Gen 2 just to hear the spool sound. I got an update for my Corvette, but there's not a real big difference. I think Ryan finished up the hot side. I'm sure he's going to be like, hey, so you owe me some money. I'm like, I know. Just tell me how much. And once he does the cold side and fixes the brackets and stuff, it's ready to come back home. And it's up to me to do turbo drain lines and turbo feed and blah, 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 blah. Junior would rather tune with a typewriter. Hey, Alex, I got a 2025 RCSB this Thursday. Congratulations. I don't get it. I just raced my friends. Alex, I got a 2025 RCSB this Thursday. I don't get after it. I just raced my friends. Do you think turbo's overkill and just stick with the Magnuson 2650? If you are not looking to race at a high level, I'd get a Magnuson 2650 stock throttle body, not their 90 millimeter thing. That whatever that is, it needs to have a stock throttle body on the thing. Mexico Racing League's truck. What about it? What about it? What's happening? What do you mean to say? I don't get it. Coyote Swap 16 Challenger. Don't know what's happening. They aren't reliable either. I was just going to hold back stock and do it only. No, I think if you're going to... Hold on. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Thank you. So, It's one up. We don't even have a backup yet. Oh, Jesus. Damn. Okay. Damn. Thank you. So I asked Junior if we had a PTC in the Grey Goose, and we don't. We have a Pro Torque. So we have a one-off Pro Torque in the Grey Goose that Junior talked about it back in March, April, and we don't even have a backup yet. So, like, if anything happens to that Pro Torque converter, se acabó. But it is a 6R80 torque converter. So we don't have a PTC. We have a Pro Torque. Brother taking aspirin. Does changing to a smaller pulley need a tune update? Or does the MAF compensate for the extra airflow? That's not an easy question to answer. So if you're on pump gas and you have an 8 PSI pulley at 7,500 RPMs, you can pulley down to a 10 PSI pulley and not need any changes because you are still within your pump gas octane limit. And then 11 PSI gets a little wonky. So anything under 11 PSI, you can go from 6 to 8 to 10 PSI, no tune changes. But if now you're going to go from 10 PSI to 12 PSI, you're going to be close to the octane limit. And that doesn't mean it requires a tune change. It means it requires more octane. Now, assuming you have E85 in the tank, our tunes are scaled close to 20 PSI on all applications. About 2.2 air load or something like that, depending on the MAF size, depending on the ejector, depending on pretty much everything. So I think you can pulley on E85 on the same tune that we give you that's finalized from 10 PSI to 20 and not need any tune changes. So as long as you have enough fuel pressure, injector, and that's it. Should I put an Alibaba turbo kit on my Gen 2 Coyote just to hear the turbo muffler? Pro Torque is one nasty converter. Thank you, sir, says Devin Garcia. Gotcha, thank you. Doesn't Chris Miller own Pro Torque? I don't know anything about Chris Miller. No, that's Pure, right? I don't know. I don't know. I think Chris Miller owns Pure whatever solutions. I went from an 84 millimeter pulley to an 80 on my 2.3 TVS and didn't need a tune update. Correct. You can even go down to a 79 millimeter smasher because you're still within the pump gas octane limit and not need anything. Went from 85 to 80 on pump gas. Is it a 2650? Is it a 2300? Is it on pump gas? I don't know your combo. Only reason I asked PTC is 20 minutes away, and they mentioned they did 6R converters. Yes, so we got there first. We started... we needed a... how do I put this? We like them, so we wanted to see if they made a converter. That's all I could say. JB says, it would be a ton of work swapping a Coyote into my 16 Challenger RT manual. Yeah, of course it would. Of course it would. It requires everything. Motor mounts. It requires everything. I don't even know if it fits physically, but yeah, it requires everything. I mean, I don't know. Motor mounts, steering shaft maybe needs to change, or if it's electric steering, belt, yeah, of course it needs work. You think it just drops right in and bolts on the stock motor mounts? He owns a bunch of companies. Joe Rivera owns Pro Torque, Word. Smash Rivera says, I got my 80 millimeter pulley for $25. Best horsepower purchase ever. My bad. 2.3 Roush on a Ball 302. Yes, as long as you are under 11 PSI, no tune changes are needed. Alex, are you going to pick up a Paxton for your Gen 1? I'd like to. I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, I am in limbo because I'm waiting on the Corvette. The Corvette is very expensive to put twin turbos in it, okay? So once I see what the bank account looks like after all that's shaken out, meaning once I get it here and I pay Ryan and everything's wrapped and done and it's up to me to make it run, I'll turn to the left and go, what's left in my account? And then figure out what I need to do with Donnie. They don't leave the... So, you know, you have to be careful because I have a converter and I have a Circle D converter in my car and it's very good. Excellent. Circle D makes great converters overall. I just think Lund Racing is at a different level, let's just say, because even that 6R80, I can't say that 6R80 is something you can get, right? That 6R80 is special. That 6R80 has saucy shit in it. That 6R80 is a 2-speed. That 6R80 spins 10,000 RPMs and has 3,000 horse going through it, or high 2,000s. because the car's probably gonna go 220 at World Cup and go 420s in the eighth. So that's saying something if it all stays together at 3,200 pounds. That's badass. So the converter needed to be, I want to say, like a super duper race oriented, whatever they got like in the Billy Badass, fast cars, fast street cars. I think they just needed to make that for the 6R, and they were willing to take. Okay, the stuff that we run usually is in the car because our input has been, taken into account. Turbo kit, senior, junior, Ryan made that turbo kit. No one called no one and says, send me your Hellion on 3. Hellion on 3 out. No, it was like, we are making, Lund Racing is making a turbo kit for the Grey Goose. Not going to offer it to anybody else. Fuck that. Custom. Transmission went from a 6-speed to a 3-speed to a 2-speed because of the math that we think, what we want to achieve. Okay, good. Control, anticipation, shifts, everything's happy. And then the torque converter was kind of next on the chopping block. Like, hey, the pump, there's pump issues. There's how much depth is that on the pump side? Does it starve? Like, there's a lot of things. And once they were taking into account, what is happening here? Once they were taken into account, meaning once the suggestions we made were taken into account, we ran that converter. That's all. Thanks, Alex. So give it a try or order another circle debris. Stop it. I have not had any issues with my circle converter. Are y'all getting worried about the case exploding at the RPM level? Nope. The only time the case broke when there was a misalignment or a issue internally. And let's just say what's in there now is pretty badass. Do you know when Blue Goose's debut will be? No, that is a year plus. It's still in fabrication. Wasn't there other people having debris issues with those converters as well? I don't know that. I beat an RS5 yesterday, my 2014 full bolt-on at the drag strip yesterday. I went 12. I needed a looser converter for sure, but damn, for a full bolt-on Coyote, this thing's a flex. My Circle D was good. I love it. I love it too. I love the one that's in my car to 2B. It is excellent. I like it very much. Okay. Just making sure I'm not doing anything. Remember, that 6R is a brainchild of Senior and Jake. Stop it. Jake too. Shows the guy knows his stuff while making you wonder. More people don't concern Senior with anything related to Coyote. So I think this is, I want to say Jake first, then Junior, and then like the final boss is like all three. I want to give equal credit to all three because Jake figured out an issue on drag based on G-forces on clutches the other day. He goes, I figured out why this clutch is having an issue, and then he's like, this is going to take it to the next level. Because what he was seeing is some kind of dragging issue with the clutches based on G-forces of launches. Pretty wild. And when he told me that, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck you're saying. Alex, which kind of boost do you recommend for a 600 horsepower manual street car? I've been on record of saying that the 2.3 liter TVS is probably the best feeling power adder there is at that power level. So if you want to achieve 600 real horsepower, let's say 650 real horsepower on a Whipple, Paxton, Vortec, whatever, the power will come in late. If you go twin turbo, totally different conversation. But let's stick with blowers. So if you get a Whipple Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, and pulley tilt will make 10 PSI because you're stuck on pump gas, fine. That feels so lazy down low that only after 5,500 RPMs will it, it's coming on. Same thing with the centrifugals, same thing with centrifugals. The TVS, the Twin Vortice Supercharger rotor pack on a 2.3 liter case is so badass. It feels torquey. You're not going to overpower it. The power comes down good. The torque is flat. The Whipple kind of rolls into the torque curve. The TVS goes straight up and across. If you look at a torque curve on a TVS, it goes up and across. The Whipple progressive, and so does centrifugals. So all that to say, a 2.3 liter TVS at 10 PSI or 11 PSI on a manual street car for 600 to 650 horse is perfection, perfection, perfection. To be or not to be, that's the question. Alex, are you going to use an all brown and Miller hose connections on the 01 plumbing? I don't know. I don't know if that's a joke or kind of surprised Lund doesn't go back to the 3-speed 6 on the quarter mile trim. Why? Think about it. So let's say you launch at, it is interesting. The 6R80 is special that way. The converter's not a lockup converter either. It's just coupling. So you have a rear gear ratio, a first gear ratio, and an RPM window, and the converter coupling with a shift. That car's running mid sixes at close to 220. And the boost was only tickling 50. So now you're going to have a bigger tire. You can leave on 20 PSI instead of 13 because of the tire gear ratio. And you can rev it to 10,000 RPMs. And the car just does. Imagine you were at your peak power all the time. And you don't need the gear ratio. It's like in theory, Craig, right? Let's say theoretical. Let's think theoretical. If you have a motor as big as this room, theoretically, if everything, gear ratio, converter, and everything, all you need is one big rotation of that motor to get down the quarter mile efficiently. In a Coyote, if you say your peak power happens at between 8,800 and 9,900 RPMs, and the car launches on 20 PSI, and it goes, and the shift happens at 9,800 and it comes back down at 8,600. And then the converter couples. So you know what happens with the RPM, right? It just kind of stays there. And then once the coupling is over, then it accelerates again. So, you don't need to go boo, right? Because is it theoretically the least amount of times it shifts, the better? Theoretically. So let's say you launch the car, shifts, and it's at the meat of the power curve, and it just couples, and then I think when you see the data and the acceleration graph based on the G meter of the AMS 2000, you're like, I wish you could just have one gear. Like, it's pretty wild. It's like a CVT. Pretty wild. I get it. The conventional wisdom is to have a turbo 400 with 170, 150, 170, 130, 11, right? 150, 130, 150, 12, 11, 150, like whatever, right? Like, but based on the acceleration curve, the G meter, gear ratio, and the power it's putting out, and the RPM range it's putting it out in, I don't see like a benefit of more gears on this transmission. Here we go. My bad. Can't leave out Jake. Sorry. Kind of surprised Lund doesn't go back to 3-speed. Yeah, gotcha. I miss my 2.3 routes on my Gen 2 every day. 2.3 on Donnie one day, hopefully. I don't know if that'll happen because those blowers are still fucking $6,000. I own a 2.3 TVS Superchargers. Nice. Thank you so much. I am stuck on pump gas. Not much E by me. Got it. Some badass hose connectors, but ain't cheap. I don't know. The Corvette's got to be nice. So if I got to spend extra money, but it's a lot of money. Like, you guys build one project car. Tell me how much that is. Now realize I have 5 of them. Before people start talking about houses and money. You start talking about houses, money, and 5 project cars. Most motors are as big as that room. Nice. Liberty Equalizer Master Race. I bought a VMP 2650 and a 2.3 for my Gen 2. Haven't tried the 2.3 yet, but the build quality is night and day. The 2650 castings look like shit. Okay, are you looking at the Magnuson casted one? I still have to make a video about the giveaway. I know you guys are probably like, what's going on with that? I'm waiting for a write-up, but I'm not going to wait anymore. I'm just going to be very generic about it and get you guys information about the 2650 GT500 bolt pattern giveaway. And some of you are already entered and don't even know it because it is not a purchasing. We're not purchasing to do giveaways. We're not selling shirts to do giveaways. What we're doing is we're giving away this blower to someone that has been a supporter for a long time, that has a GT500, but there is an application process. I want to see what you got going on. I want to see that you actually waste the fucking thing. I don't want to just give away a blower and it ends up in Kansas City and you never heard from the motherfucker ever again. I want to make sure that somebody that is an Amory member, Patreon subscriber for a year, has at least been around for a year, has a GT500. This is just a blower upgrade. That's all it is. Nothing else, not a kit, nothing. What you see is what you get. So I'm going to talk about it, make a nice little video on it. And then if Magnuson wants to add anything in the video comments, they can, but I'm just not. I got to get videos out there. And for the members, YouTube members, and maybe Patreon too, I got a little vlog video coming that I took yesterday. I think you guys will enjoy. Nothing to do with cars, more to do about West Palm. I had a lot of fun making it. So I think you guys will enjoy that. I'm trying to give you guys member perks so you don't be like, why am I a fucking member if I'm not getting nothing? The Holley intake is as big as that room. That's funny. If the trans is working, no need to try to reinvent the wheel. Bro, give it to Killshot. Get him off the damn nitrous. Converter is everything it sounds like. My shit would slow down from the 1/8 mile to 1/4 mile if I didn't change my 2-speed for the 3-speed. Totally understand. Swapping on my diff after the show is over and ordering my tune from y'all. Second gear leave. I'm excited to get rid of first gear inconsistency. YouTube featured under the live streaming this morning. YouTube featured under the live stream this morning? What do you mean? You mean they're pushing my shit? No, they're not. Get out of here. Where do you see that? YouTube is actually giving a fuck about my shit? Where do you see that? Let me go. Premium. Do you see YouTube actually featuring my shit? I couldn't imagine. Where is it? You're going to have to send me a link. Like, if they're actually pushing my stuff, that'd be awesome. Meaning, hey, YouTube featured under the live stream this morning. I don't know what's happening. Bryson Witt should be a contender. Alex, Bryson Witt's good. He's gotten a lot of stuff from the Amory. Love him. Alex, you see Fat House Dyno, the GTD, 700 wheel horsepower, 740. That's about right. Yeah, it's a tuned GT500. That's what it should. That's pretty good. All right, so maybe the third time's a charm with Circle D. A la verga. Can't wait to see it. VMP wouldn't tell me who made each blower, but they are different companies. So Magnuson casted. It's not here, is it? I gotta go get the blower. I'm gonna finish that video today. You'll see it probably. God damn it, tonight. I don't want to feel the pressure, but I might finish the video. And it'll be this. It'll be mostly voiceover, showing you B-roll stuff, and then incorporating in, videos to let you know what the deal is and how to enter. How to enter, which will be an application process. There's nothing about a feature on my YouTube. Thank you. I was going to say, like, if YouTube is featuring my live stream, I would have had 4,000 people on the live stream. Or not. Who knows? So today, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to finish up the Magnuson 2650 GT500 giveaway video so that you understand what we're giving away, what we're doing. And this is basically Magnuson trying to highlight the fact that they still have some rear feeds left over. Limited supply. They're not going to re-up them. There are 2650 rear feeds that are for Coyote and for GT500. So they gave me one with an Amory label on it. And they said, hey, put this out there, give one away, and let people know that we are going to be, selling these upgrade head units that you can still get with a Magnuson cast, because the other ones are VMP labeled. These are Magnuson, made from Magnuson, because they have some leftover stuff that they want to give away, sell, and they're doing a giveaway through this channel to highlight that fact. Blaze Ball says, Alex, good question. Why is it not recommended to run a Ghost Cam on a Cobra Jet 20? It's just control. It's not going to chop steadily. We're not going to make it chop steadily. It's a throttle body Gen 1 control system with the dual bore. You want to hate your life? Go ahead and try to make that sucker chop on a Cobra Jet. Forget the Ghost Cam on a Cobra Jet on all platforms. When I opened YouTube on my home feed, I'm sure I saw it. I no longer see it. Sorry. Okay, no problem. They probably know that you're subscribe, and they probably pushed it to your side and said, hey, Alex is on, check him out. All right, I'm going to get out of here, guys. So today we talked about the Engine Labs video. I think they did a good job. I'm not going to blame or place blame. I'm just saying that if the shops, LME and FFRE, had 100% control of the parts list, you would have an 871 towering intake on it. You wouldn't have that turbo kit on it. You wouldn't have many things on it. And I think you would have seen a similar result for similar turbo, but maybe less pulls to achieve that result. Now people are saying, well, now let's do twin turbos. Boy, stop it. Twin turbos, the Coyote runs away. Bye-bye. See you later. You are actually choking the Coyote with a little turbo. And the LME, maybe same so with the 5.3, but the Coyote is just going to be a motherfucker twin turbo. So I don't think that's a good thing comparison to make because they didn't get that many views. Let's just stop it here and start comparing the LS LT to your actual competitor, which is Hemi stuff. Have a good rest of your Sunday. I will be back on Tuesday, Talking Shit Tuesday. We'll hang out then. Members, look up for a video, vlog style West Palm Beach video today on Patreon and the members here. And I'll try to see if I can finish up the Magnuson giveaway video to give you a heads up as to what the whole deal is with the 2650 rear feed GT500 blower. See you guys later. Bye.